On today's installment of Big Al's Garage, out-of-state registration. Why would you do it? How y'all doing, and welcome to another installment of Big Al's Garage. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about out-of-state registration and why you might do it. A lot of people choose to register their cars in a state other than their own for a number of different reasons. Two of the more popular states for registering cars in are Vermont and Montana. And they are popular for two very different reasons. Let's start with Vermont. The reason a lot of people will register their cars there, at least initially, is that Vermont doesn't issue titles to vehicles that are older than 15 years. And it's also open to non-residents. This is a very great option for anyone who has ever found a great looking classic car, good project car, that's great except for the fact that it doesn't have a title. Usually this means going to your DMV, getting a bonded title, and that can be a whole nightmare. But if you go to the Vermont DMV website, fill out the forms, play your cards right, you can register your car in Vermont with only a bill of sale. And the state of Vermont will issue you a registration that you can then take to your home state's DMV, register your car, and obtain a title. Uncle Tony's Garage did a great video on this the other day, so I'm not going to go too much into it and reinvent the wheel. I'll throw a link to his video in the description. The Vermont registration loophole is a good one if you have a project car and you can't get a title for it. That's about the only reason people would do it. The other state people like to register in, for a lot more legally dubious reasons, is Montana. Have you ever gone to a car meet or a Cars and Coffee or a car show and seen a Lamborghini or a McLaren or Ferrari with Montana plates? There's a very good reason for that. The state of Montana does not charge sales tax on vehicles. Now, for your ordinary Joe six-pack like me, the sales tax on a car doesn't add a huge amount to the purchase price of a car. Certainly not enough to pay the $1,000 fee it would take you to set up a Montana LLC. But if you own one of the aforementioned supercars, that sales tax bill is going to be a good chunk of change. So, as I alluded to just a moment ago, what people will do is start an LLC, that's a limited liability corporation, in Montana. That LLC purchases the car, which you would then drive as a company car. You get Montana plates, and there are several other advantages besides the fact that you now don't pay sales tax. You probably saved yourself 20 or 30 grand on your car purchase. For one thing, Montana has no safety or emissions inspections. So if you live in a state that's really strict, like California, or my home state, New York, you can avoid the rather onerous emissions inspection. That's another reason people will do it. Another reason is my current state of residence, South Carolina, charges you yearly personal property tax on your car. You can avoid that with Montana registration. Now, the Corvair, I just actually got the property tax bill for it, $22. So the Montana thing isn't worth it at all. And for my regular cars, it's also not worth it. It can produce some headaches with your car insurance. I know Hagerty is on board with it. And the legality of it is a little bit dubious. A few years ago, I know the state of Georgia cracked down on it big time because they were losing out on a lot of tax revenue. But, I'm not condoning it. I'm simply telling you why people do this and what it's all about. Funny story, My very first car was a 1993 Toyota Camry. You know, just a little commuter car. Nothing special, but I put a ton of gaudy stuff on it, but that's neither here nor there, and a subject for another video. But I was living on Long Island, New York. My hometown is Shoreham, on Long Island's North Shore. And one of the pain-in-the-butt things about living on Long Island, and there were many, is that Long Island, along with New York City, Westchester, and Rockland counties, had emissions inspections, in addition to the yearly safety inspection. Well, my 93 Camry was about that close to the limit on one of the pollutants. I don't remember which one. And if it failed, it would have meant that potentially hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of repairs, which, you know, I as a broke college student didn't want to have to deal with. And plus, I also had admittedly a bit of an anti-authoritarian streak in me at the time. Still do, for that matter. So, I'm talking to my uncle who lives up in Ulster County, the same county as my alma mater, SUNY New Paltz. Says, oh, well, we only have safety inspections up here. Really? Light bulb goes on. Ulster County doesn't have emissions, but they did have the safety inspection. You know, I go down to the DMV thinking I'm clever, grab me a change of address form, put the college's address on it, registered my car at the university I was going to. Not only did I avoid the emissions inspection for the 2 years I was up at New Paltz, but for another year afterwards when I was working back on Long Island, and saved about a couple $100 on my car insurance as a result. This was probably big time illegal. I can tell the story now because it's been almost 20 years and the statute of limitations has long since run out. Looking back, I am lucky I didn't get arrested, but this was the broke college kids equivalent of pulling the Montana scheme. I know other people on Long Island who did similar things with vacation homes upstate and whatnot. And unfortunately, New York State has since changed its law, and now the whole state requires emissions. So yeah, that loophole was no longer available. But yes, so here I was, driving this car, driving it around New Paltz, fine. You know, I was in New Paltz, I was keeping the car where I was living. Nothing wrong with that, right? Then I did an internship in Albany. Okay, we're starting to get legally dubious here. I mean, we're at least still in the part of the state that doesn't require emissions. Then I got a job back home on Long Island. Okay, yeah, now we're really scamming the state of New York big time. But I went to the DMV, re-registered the car, you know, renewed my registration in person so I didn't have to deal with the mail, and, well, lost the job that I had, and rather serendipitously was able to move down here to South Carolina. My inspection expired 3 weeks before I left. In terms of inspections, I was always the biggest scofflaw. Drove around with an expired sticker for those last 3 weeks, figuring the heck with it. If I get a ticket, I get a ticket. They can come find me in South Carolina if they're so motivated. Nothing ever happened. Got down here, drove around with that expired sticker for another month. They don't care down here. There's no inspections in South Carolina, thank God. One of many, many reasons I prefer living down here. So yeah, went to the DMV, switched my plates over to South Carolina, and that was the end of that legally dubious scheme. Hope you found this video a little bit entertaining. Hope you'll like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully we are going to be back to work on the Corvair at some point. I still need to rebuild that driver's side carburetor and replace the accelerator pump. Every so often I am getting down and dirty and spraying the head bolts with PB Blaster. They are quite rusty, so getting them off is going to be a bit of an adventure. But, gotta get her running, gotta take her out and drive her hard and have some fun with her before the end of the summer. Anyway, that's it. I will catch you next time.